Welcome to another exciting video in the world of football. Certain names rise above the rest, etched into the annals of history through a blend of skill, passion, and success. But behind every legend, there are untold stories, moments that remain hidden in the shadows, waiting to be discovered. Today, we're diving deep into the untold story of one of football's most crucial yet often underrated figures, the midfield maestro. These players, though frequently overlooked, are the engine of every team. They control the tempo, dictate the play, and often make or break a match. But in the limelight of strikers and goalkeepers, they remain the unsung heroes. It's easy to remember the goals, the flashy finishes, and the incredible saves. But what about those who make the goals possible? The midfielders are the architects, the ones who paint the perfect passes, who read the game like a chessboard. Yet, their story is rarely told in full, as it's the goal scorers who steal the spotlight. What makes their contribution even more remarkable is how often these players go unnoticed by the average fan, who often focuses solely on the more glamorous positions. The midfielder, however, is the heartbeat of the team, shaping the flow of play, keeping the ball moving, and ensuring that everything runs smoothly behind the scenes. But it wasn't always like this. The history of midfield maestros is rich and diverse, with players like Zinedine Zidane, Andrea Pirlo, Xavi Hernandez, and the great Johan Cruyff, each of whom has redefined what it means to play in the middle of the park. These men weren't just great footballers, they were artists, using the ball as a brush to paint masterpieces on the field. But even within this elite company, the story of the midfield maestro is not always fully appreciated. Too often, their contributions are overshadowed by those who score goals or make the highlight reel tackles. Let's start by thinking about what it takes to be a midfield maestro. It's a delicate balance of technical skill, vision, and intelligence. These players are often tasked with everything from winning the ball back to launching a counter-attack to being able to drop back and defend when necessary. It's not just about physicality, it's about mental acuity. Midfielders need to be aware of everything happening on the pitch. They have to anticipate the opponent's next move, be aware of the positions of their teammates, and decide in a split second how to maintain control of the ball or break down the opposition's defense. But beyond the obvious responsibilities, the role of the midfielder is so much more nuanced. A true maestro is someone who can transform a game with a single pass, someone who reads the game like few others do. When you think about players like Xavi, who was able to make a 10-yard pass look as if it were the most important moment in the game, you start to realize the sheer artistry that goes into their work. It's all about vision. Xavi didn't just pass the ball, he passed it to create an opportunity, to unlock a defense, to provide an avenue for his teammates to succeed. And then there's Andrea Pirlo, a player who embodied the elegance of midfield play. His ability to control the tempo of a game, slowing it down or speeding it up based on the situation, made him an indispensable asset to every team he played for. But Pirlo's contribution was not always obvious. He didn't score many goals, he didn't make last-minute tackles, but his influence was felt in every pass, every decision he made. He was the calm in the chaos, the one who kept the ship steady when everything around him seemed unpredictable. Of course, no conversation about midfield maestros would be complete without mentioning Zinedine Zidane. Zidane's career was filled with moments of magic, yet it's easy to forget how many of those moments came from his ability to control the flow of the game. While his sublime goals in the 1998 World Cup final and the Champions League final for Real Madrid are unforgettable, it was his midfield mastery that allowed him to create those moments. Zidane had the ability to pick up the ball in the most congested areas of the pitch and emerge unscathed. His ability to glide past opponents with minimal effort, his precise vision to pick out teammates, and his calm under pressure made him one of the most beloved midfielders in football history. But beyond the iconic names, there's a deeper layer to the story of the Midfield Maestro. It's the unsung efforts of those who never make the headlines, but are integral to the success of their teams. These players are often the ones who provide the necessary grit, the quiet determination to win the ball back, or the tireless work rate that allows the more glamorous players to shine. There's a reason why managers often speak of the importance of having a strong midfield. They know that everything flows through this part of the pitch. It's where games are won or lost, where possession is gained or lost, and where the direction of a match can be altered in an instant. The beauty of the Midfield Maestro is that their impact often goes beyond the traditional statistics of the game. A midfielder's brilliance isn't always measured by goals scored or assists made, but by how they make the team function as a unit. It's in their ability to break down an opponent's press, to recycle possession, to be the player who keeps the ball ticking when the game seems to be slipping away. It's about reading the game's rhythm and understanding when to accelerate and when to slow things down. The Midfield Maestro doesn't just play football, they understand football at a deeper level, recognizing the subtle intricacies that make the game beautiful. It's also worth noting that the evolution of the midfield role has been a fascinating journey. In the early days of football, the midfield was often considered a place for hard tackling, no-nonsense players whose primary role was to break up opposition attacks. But over time, this role evolved, and players like Johan Cruyff began to redefine what a midfielder could be. Cruyff brought creativity, flair, and vision to the heart of the pitch, and his style influenced generations of players that followed. His famous total football philosophy transformed how football was played, and midfielders became not just destroyers of attacks, but creators of play. Yet, despite all the accolades, the midfielder's story remains underappreciated in the grand narrative of football. We hear plenty about the star forwards, the heroes of the big moments, but less about the orchestrators who made those moments possible. The story of the Midfield Maestro is a story of intelligence, vision, and elegance. They are the thinkers, the conductors, the architects of football's finest moments. So the next time you watch a game, remember, it's often the midfielder with their quiet brilliance who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, shaping the match, and ensuring that the team's rhythm flows like a well-rehearsed symphony. And though their name might not always be the one on the tip of your tongue, their contribution is felt in every touch, every pass, and every victory. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell icon.